the silence of limitless energy cessation. The moment was unremarkable on its face. No cosmic flash illuminated the sky. There was no sudden, deafening global alarm. It began with an infinitesimal dip in potential. Imagine all energy everywhere suddenly freezing, not dissipating, but locking into its current state. The hypothetical constraint is simple yet total. And if energy suddenly became strictly limited? If the universe held its breath, unable to perform work? This is not a power outage, which implies replenishment failure. This is a fundamental cessation of kinetic possibility. The hook requires us to define the cessation precisely. All available energy instantly becomes conserved forever. No chemical reaction can proceed further than its trigger point. Friction stops generating heat the instant it commences. Nuclear decay halts mid-fission, mid-fusion, mid-decay. The speed of light itself becomes an immutable ceiling fixed. This is the end of dynamism, the advent of ultimate constraint. The first ripples begin subtly, almost imperceptibly slow. In the first hour, the world experiences a near-perfect stasis. Engines coasting through their cycles complete their arc. A car traveling at highway speed continues its motion. It does not slow down due to air resistance or rolling friction. The air molecules it pushes simply remain in their new position. They do not vibrate back, thus they generate no heat loss. The engine, however, seizes where it is mid-combustion. Valves remain suspended midway between open and closed states. The gasoline molecules cannot complete their energetic conversion. Computers continue to display the last processed instruction. The electrons in the silicon lattice hold their exact configuration. No further calculations can be executed, no memory refreshed. The global network of information instantly becomes a static archive. Every active signal propagating through fiber optics holds its position. Light pulses freeze within the glass, unable to push the next photon. Communication across continents ceases in that first silent second. The human heart is a biological engine, fundamentally electrochemical. Its next scheduled beat arrests in the middle of diastole or systole. This immediate halt across all biological systems is catastrophic. Breathing stops as the diaphragm muscles lock in their current strain. Neural impulses, which are electrochemical cascades, cease propagating. Sensory input is cut off as synapses cannot transmit the next signal. The first hour is an eternal instant where everything is perfectly preserved. Imagine standing on a busy street corner when this happens. The sound of traffic, laughter, or construction simply vanishes. The sound wave that was entering your ear canal stops there. It cannot push the next wave of air molecules forward. Silence becomes absolute, a pressure against the inner ear. The first day reveals the terrifying rigidity of this new physics. Objects in motion maintain their velocity vector indefinitely. A dropped pen hangs a millimeter above the floor indefinitely. Its gravitational potential energy is locked, unable to convert to kinetic. Water flowing in a river freezes in its exact turbulent pattern. It is not ice in the traditional sense of lattice rearrangement. It is simply water molecules unable to shift position relative to neighbors. Atmospheric circulation halts entirely. Weather patterns are instantly fossilized in 3 dimensions. High-pressure zones become permanent, static bubbles of air density. Low-pressure voids become rigid traps of vacuum potential. The lack of energy means no heat transfer can occur across gradients. This introduces the second, more subtle layer of consequence. Regions near the equator, accustomed to thermal flux, remain hot. Polar regions retain their frigid, static coldness. The temperature difference does not equalize because diffusion requires energy. The planet rapidly segments into eternally fixed thermal zones. Biological matter, frozen in its dynamic state, begins to fail internally. Enzymatic processes, stalled mid-reaction, cause immediate structural damage. Cells cannot maintain osmotic balance without active pumping mechanisms. Water, unable to move correctly through membranes, ruptures structures. The complex machinery of life disassembles itself from within the stasis. Systemic collapse is not a slow decline. It is an instantaneous structural failure across scales. The technology sector is the first to illustrate this absolute rigidity. Power plants, relying on kinetic cycles, stop feeding phantom power. The grid becomes a series of inert wires holding fixed electron configurations. No signal can be sent to restart or diagnose the failure. The digital world, previously characterized by flowing information, becomes sedimentary. Every backup drive, every server rack holds its last state immutably. The grand architecture of global computation is now a vast, complex sculpture. The physical world suffers from the failure of self-regulation. Ecosystems reliant on rapid turnover, like plankton blooms or insect life, cease functioning. Decomposition stops entirely. Bacteria and fungi, unable to express their necessary enzymes, become inert structures. Fallen leaves remain suspended just above the earth if they were in motion. If they were still, they remain fixed to the branch, incapable of detaching. The planet's surface becomes a chaotic, 3-dimensional snapshot. Every dust mote, every droplet of moisture is positioned exactly where the limit was imposed. Nature adapts by ceasing to be nature. It transforms into a museum of its last instant of activity. The absence of entropy is the absence of time's subjective passage. This is where the human perspective becomes critical. For the individual cotinous freeze, time is an undefined concept. If the nervous system is locked in a state preceding conscious awareness, experience halts. But let us consider the edge case, the rare human caught just before the universal lock. Perhaps a philosopher gazing at the night sky, deep in thought. Their brain activity pauses, the electrochemical wave arrested in the cortex. They do not feel cold because the process of sensing cold requires energy transfer. They do not feel hunger as the homeostatic signals cannot propagate. Their consciousness, if it can be defined as a specific pattern of energy, is preserved. They exist as a perfect, living memory of the universe's last second of motion. The immediate environment confirms the new reality. The light from distant stars, now unable to move further through space, is frozen mid-transit. The philosopher can see light rays from a galaxy millions of light years away, fixed in space. They are surrounded by statues of their neighbors, frozen mid-step, mid-word. The air molecules surrounding their face are locked in place, a rigid sheath of gas. Breathing is impossible because the mechanics of inhalation require muscular expansion. The lungs are rigid, fixed structures demanding an impossible re-expansion. The human body, designed for continuous maintenance, immediately becomes a complex fossil. The initial preservation lasts only as long as the structural integrity holds without repair. Eventually, the sheer mechanical stress of being locked in an active posture will cause failure. Bones might fracture under the tension of muscles locked mid-contraction. The rigid air sheath pressing against the eyes will eventually cause corneal rupture. Life, as defined by active maintenance, ends instantly, even if awareness lingers momentarily. The human perspective shifts from experience to eternal documentation of a single state. They become the perfect, if agonizingly brief, record of the final moment of dynamism. We must zoom out now, embracing the cosmic scale of this constraint. If energy cannot perform work, fundamental forces undergo subtle, yet massive shifts. Gravity remains, as the static configuration of mass still exerts influence. However, orbiting bodies, which require continuous adjustments based on changing potential, are locked. Planets hold their exact trajectory, unable to accelerate or decelerate in response to minor gravitational perturbations. The solar system becomes a set piece, perfectly aligned at the instant of cessation. Stars cease fusion. The immense pressure that once counteracted gravity's inward crush is arrested. The stars do not explode, nor do they immediately collapse into black holes. The outward pressure of photons, the very definition of stellar light, stops propagating. The light already emitted travels until its last quantum reaches some distant point. Then silence, even from the stars. The universe, moments ago expanding, now assumes a fixed geometric arrangement. The cosmic microwave background radiation freezes in its current pattern across the void. The universe stops evolving. It merely exists in its last state of readiness. This is the ultimate thermodynamic dead end, not the heat death of expansion, but the freeze of stagnation. Entropy has been surgically removed from the equation. The philosophical implication is profound. If action requires energy, and energy is fixed, then change is an illusion of the past. Humanity's entire history, our ambition, our struggle, was a function of available potential. Our evolution, our civilizations, were simply elaborate pathways for energy dissipation. Art, love, war, all were complex forms of work being done on the environment or on ourselves. This reality strips away all telos, all purpose derived from future action. The existential weight is the recognition that being alive was contingent on ceaseless expenditure. We confused process with permanence. We mistook the flow for the destination. The universe in this hypothetical has achieved a state of perfect, static information. Every configuration that ever was, or could have been, is now crystallized. This is not death in the classical sense of decay, which requires energy to fuel the breakdown. This is the transformation of existence into an artifact, a single, complex snapshot. The optimistic nihilism must now be derived not from the potential of future action, but from the perfection of the achieved state. If nothing more can ever happen, then nothing can ever be ruined again. The mistakes made in that final fleeting second are immortalized, yes. But so too are the moments of beauty, the culmination of effort, the perfect structure of a completed equation. Humanity, frozen mid-stride, becomes the final, most complex sculpture in the cosmos. Our existence, once a chaotic struggle against disorder, is now the perfect order of that moment's disorder. The universe has settled into its final, most intricate pattern. We are not victims of a broken system. We are participants in its final, silent realization. The story ends not with a bang or a whimper, but with the soundless click of the ultimate lock engaging. We become the eternal definition of what we were for the duration of that final instant. This is the peace of absolute constraint, the stillness where effort is no longer required. The energy remains, eternally limited, eternally available for that one final, frozen configuration. And in that configuration, perhaps, lies a strange, permanent perfection.